Okay, everybody, I'm going to take up the questions for understanding on page 17E that comes from nervous control. So it says, distinguish between a neuron and a nerve. A neuron is one cell. A nerve is a bundle of cells. So it's a collection of many, many axons together. Be able to define all the terms on, or sorry, be able to define all the parts of a neuron. So that's up to you guys. You have to know what all those different parts are, including the cell body, the dendrites, the axons, nodes of Ranvier, all of that stuff. And then I had you do some reading. Page 518 to 520, describe the PNS and the CNS. So the CNS, the central nervous system, includes the brain and the spinal cord. Okay, and I'm just going to flip back here. The peripheral nervous system, you've got a good diagram of it here. Yes. Okay, yeah, the peripheral nervous system includes the afferent and the efferent nervous system, which is anything outside of the brain and the spinal cord. All right, so all the neurons, the sense organs, all of those things are part of what we call the peripheral nervous system. Being on the periphery means being on the outside. Okay, and what we're talking about is being on the outside of the spinal cord and the brain. Letter B, what are the afferent system and the efferent system, and to which do they belong? They belong to the PNS. What are the afferent and efferent nervous systems? So the afferent nervous system takes information from your senses, so from your body, and delivers that message to the brain and the spinal cord. Okay, I'm just going to adjust this a little bit so you can see what I'm pointing at. So it takes information from the it takes information from the sensory neurons and goes to the brain and spinal cord. The efferent nervous system takes the response, so the brain's going to make a decision, and what it does is it sends that decision in the form of what you need to do as a response to the efferent system. Okay. C says, describe the somatic and autonomic nervous system. So notice this, okay? The efferent nervous system breaks up into somatic and autonomic, all right? So these are two divisions. So what are they? They're two divisions of the efferent system. The somatic system gives information to your skeletal muscles, so muscles surrounding the skeleton. The autonomic nervous system gives information to your smooth muscles and your glands. Okay, so like a smooth muscle would be a heart. All right, and then glands, you know all about glands now. All right, and then autonomic nervous system divides, I learned it as the autonomic nervous system. They're just calling it the autonomic system. This system divides into the sympathetic and to the parasympathetic divisions. And so D says, describe the sympathetic and the parasympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the opposite of the parasympathetic. So sympathetic allows you to get energy, all right, and use your energy and keep you awake and do all kinds of activities. The parasympathetic division is involved in relaxation. So even though that sounds really good right now, what I mean by that is it's starting to turn the energy use off and allow you to get into a restful state. Because in order to function, we need to be able to do both of these. You need to be able to turn it on, like turn it on. In other words, turn on activity levels and function. So if you're going to school, you would be turning that on and paying attention. And then when you get home, you have to be able to relax eventually, okay? Because you can't be using this much energy all the time. So the body has to be able to have systems to use energy and be alert, and then be able to be in a restful state to rest and recover, all right? And that's the difference between the two. What is a neural circuit? So you would have got that information on page 520. So a neural circuit consists of all of these. So the receptor, okay, the sensor, the afferent neuron, which is taking the information from your sensory organs to the interneuron, all right? And then the efferent neuron is going to take a response back to the muscle that's going to do something or the gland that's going to do something. The smallest form of a neural circuit is a reflex arc. And what is a reflex arc? It is a circuit that doesn't include the brain. So in other words, we have some reflexes, and I think they're showing those to you here. Okay, one reflex is when you touch something extremely hot, you don't want tissue damage in the form of a burn. And so that response just goes to the spinal cord, not to the brain, and you withdraw very quickly. So what is the point? The point is that you withdraw extremely quickly. If that electrical message has to go all the way up to the brain, it takes a little bit more time, and in that time you could be incurring a lot more damage to your skin. Okay, and if your doctor ever tests your reflexes, if they've ever knocked your knee, that's a reflex arc. Okay, it doesn't go to the brain, so you're just making sure the spinal cord is still working properly. Okay, and that your reflexes are intact. And then question 4 on page 521. Why do you think reflexes have evolved to occur without the need of the brain to process information? Because like you and I don't live in really dangerous times, obviously, but human beings evolved with other animals, and we had predators, and so other lots and lots of dangers, obviously, in the environment. So the reflex arc evolved to save time so that we could respond to our environment when there was a desperate need to respond to something dangerous in the environment.